Welcome to the Binge Dietitian podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Sumner, registered dietitian, focusing on helping men and women end binge eating, end food guilt, and finally say yes to life. This podcast is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not substitute for medical and personalized advice. Welcome to this episode of Binge Dietitian podcast. And in this episode, we'll be talking about what to do if you struggle with binge eating, but you feel you might need to lose weight for your health condition to improve. And this can be a very tricky topic. And if you've been following me for some episodes in my podcast, you'll find that in order to put an end to binge eating, you will actually have to put an end to restrictions, which means you'll have to start eating regularly and honoring your hunger by eating the foods you crave. Essentially, meaning you need to put weight loss on hold in order to recover from binge eating. If this still feels like new news to you, then I highly recommend watching my podcast episode number 2 called The 3 Main Triggers of Binge Eating. But before I get started, I just want to remind you with a disclaimer that this podcast episode should not be used as a substitute to personalized medical advice. I do not know your condition, your past medical history, your current mindset and relationship around food. Therefore, always speak to your qualified health provider or a qualified and registered dietitian who knows you at a personal level. So, before I provide some advice on what to do if you struggle with binge eating, but you want to lose weight to improve your health condition, I want to ask you this. What is the main reason you want to lose weight? Sure, you might think it might improve your health condition, but at a specific level, do you have set goals? Is it to improve your physical endurance so you can walk longer distances from 1 mile to 2 miles a day? Is it to improve your blood sugar control from A to B or to reduce your blood pressure from A to B? Because once we have set goals, clear, realistic goals, then we would be more motivated to reach them because we have a clear picture on what to aim for. But what if I told you that you can reach these goals without weight loss? Weight loss is so glamorized as this thing that would change your life, but is this actually true? And before you start to click off this episode, I want to inform you that I'm not here to say you should ignore weight loss for the rest of your life. But what I am here to say is that if you're struggling with binge eating, you will need to stop weight loss temporarily until your binges disappear. Then you will be in a much healthier and sustainable mindset towards sustainable weight loss. We binge eat because our body is severely deprived in terms of hunger and psychological fulfillment. We wouldn't be binge eating if we kept comfortably full and satisfied. Binge eating is a sign from your body that something needs to be fulfilled, and only then, once you've fulfilled your body's needs, you will start to see a drastic decrease in binge episodes. So it's important to address that we need to sort out and get rid of binge eating first. So more on that can be found in episode 2, the 3 main triggers of binge eating and how to stop them. So let me start with this. Do you ever feel like you're in a constant cycle of binging and restricting? You binged last night, so you skip breakfast or eat very little next day, only to find out you binged once again. So you try to restrict the next day or a few days later on. Then you find yourself binging again. This is the binge restrict cycle. And it's very unlikely you will successfully lose weight if you're in the cycle of yo-yo dieting. You may find that actually, the longer you are in the cycle of yo-yo dieting or the binge restrict cycle, your weight slowly starts to creep up, or your health markers do not improve, such as your cholesterol levels, blood sugars, blood pressure, and more. I understand that it can be very polarizing to not chase weight loss when you need to, in order for your health condition to improve. But that is the pitfall that binge eating tempts us with. We're told to chase weight loss, and hopefully that one certain diet will lead to weight loss. Or if you try hard enough, you will successfully lose weight. But your body's hunger and cravings are much more powerful than any willpower. To be frank, it is your body's survival mechanism. Binge eating is a survival mechanism. People who do lose weight often do not keep it off, which is why 95% of people going on diets fail. So, a study by Matson and colleagues, which I'll link in the description of this podcast, showed that no matter what weight or BMI range you are, if you are incorporating healthy habits into your lifestyle, your risk of mortality, aka death, massively decreases. These healthy habits are fruit and veg intake, daily exercise, consuming alcohol moderately or none, and not smoking. If you're incorporating more healthy habits into your lifestyle consistently, then you can essentially be more healthy metabolically than someone at a lower body weight who does not incorporate these healthy habits. I will link the study to the description of the podcast episode. On top of this, a controversial study by Dr. Catherine Flegel showed that our BMI does not actually increase our risk of death unless we're at a BMI of 35 or more. So we should get rid of the weight stigma, and the link is also in the description. So am I trying to sway you away from losing weight if you want to do it for your health? No. What I'm trying to say is that during binge eating recovery, your health markers can likely improve, regardless of your BMI, based on these studies if you're adopting healthy habits. And I think you're probably thinking by now, Jonathan, what would you recommend then? Well, I would recommend that in order to stop or reduce your binge episodes, instead of restricting most of the day and later on binging, start to incorporate regular meals. This is to incorporate breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, and dinner to reduce the craving to binge by satisfying your hunger. On top of this, honor your hunger, so include the foods you love. For example, this could be cookies and brownies, and you may add a dessert if you feel like this might lead you to overeat as a snack. So add it as a dessert after a main meal, like after lunch. But remember, you're keeping yourself full by eating regular meals and snacks, so your body would not have a reason to overeat. Remember, health-wise, it is better to eat the foods you enjoy in moderation, over binging on them all in one go. Incorporating regular meals and snacks should slowly reduce the urges to binge eat. On top of this, as we mentioned earlier, try to adopt healthy habits, such as including more fruit and veg with your meals and snacks. Reduce the amount of alcohol you drink, and engage in at least 150 minutes of moderate or 75 minutes of vigorous physical activity a week. Adopt these healthy habits of eating regular meals and snacks, honoring your hunger, and including more fruit and veg. These should help maintain or help your metabolic markers for now until your urges to binge disappear. Then, once you're out of the binge and restrict cycle, you are in a much, much better and sustainable place to lose weight if you wish to. So those are my tips to escape binge eating and to improve your health. And remember, as a disclaimer, that this is not against what your doctor recommends or what your GP recommends. Always try to speak to your health provider, your doctor, or qualified registered dietitian. So, as a summary, here are the 3 tips. Number 1, try to incorporate regular meals and snacks into your diet, plus honor your hunger. Binge eating is just a normal signal from our body that there are unmet needs that we need to meet. Oftentimes, we binge eat because we are so deprived psychologically by restricting the foods we love, or even whole food groups such as sugar or carbs, or we're depriving ourselves physically. So we become so hungry, we have this intense urge to binge. So try to include regular meals and snacks. So this is your breakfast, mid-morning snack, lunch, mid-afternoon snack, and dinner. These would calm your hunger pangs down and include foods you enjoy throughout the day. You can watch episode number 2, the 3 main triggers of binge eating and how to stop them, for more details on those. Number 2 tip, incorporate healthy habits. Incorporating healthy habits can help maintain or improve your health markers in the meantime whilst you are in binge eating recovery. Number 3 tip is to remember that I'm not saying that you should ignore the goal of losing weight forever if you feel like you need to do it for your health. Struggling with binge eating and restricting is a never-ending battle. But once you escape the cycle of binging and restricting, you will be in a much more sustainable, healthy relationship with food to reach your goals of weight loss. Thanks so much for listening to this short episode. And if you feel that you found this episode helpful, I would highly appreciate it if you rated this podcast well to help share and raise awareness of supporting loved ones with binge eating. I want to let you know that binge eating recovery is completely possible because I fully recovered myself, and I'm always happy to share my personal experience and my dietetic knowledge and advice with you. If ever you have any questions, feel free to message me in my social media platforms in Binge Dietitian. I offer one-to-one coaching, and you might also want to check out my online course where I can help you end your binge eating. All of these are in the link in the description of this podcast. So once again, thanks so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye. If you found this podcast helpful, you would definitely benefit from my binge eating freedom course in my website, bingedietitian.com. Learn more about the triggers to why you're binge eating and how to stop binge eating for good. No more food guilt, no more jumping from diet to diet, and no more shame. Go to the link in this episode for my binge eating freedom course to be one step closer to being binge free, starting today.